decided that actually now we need independence. That was where it was really first mooted, because their experiences in the war, they were told that they were there to fight for liberty, democracy, freedom, that sort of thing. So they said, okay, fine, now it applies to us. So that was where we sort of began to chart, as it were, our freedom. And can you imagine, from 45 to 1960, 15 years? They call it the year of freedom, I think, 1960.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mboch. I understand my colleague, Ansumana Eswanyasi, is also standing somewhere close to the VIP tent. Ansumana, if you're just getting me, what exactly are you seeing from where you are right now?
Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Mr. Mboch, and happy independence to you and to our viewers out there. Well, right behind me is the VIP tent, where the president would also be seated as soon as he arrives. But from where I am, I could see all cabinet ministers, the Chief Justice, the former Vice President, and even dignitaries from outside Gambia, including the Emir of Kano State, Nigeria, as well as National Assembly members. So it's a host of dignitaries from various institutions in our country as well as abroad that are here to grace this very important national occasion. So I'll try to engage one or two cabinet ministers, and then we'll also get a feel of what is happening here. So as you can see, Ali, it's indeed very beautiful out here. You have almost all cabinet ministers seated here. Let me engage Honorable. Good morning, Honorable. Happy Independence.
Thank you, Mr. QTV, Mr. Nyasi of QTV.
What does this day mean to you?
It means very important to me and to many Gambians. This so signifies the day that we got independent from the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and became self on our own, had our independence and had everything for ourselves. Indeed, it's a very important day, and it's good to remember the day and celebrate the day.
Thank you, sir. That is Honorable Ahmad Ba, Minister of Tourism and Culture. I'll engage our modern aunt as well. Good morning, Ma, and happy independence.
Good morning. Thank you very much, and I also wish you a happy independence celebration.
How do you feel today?
I feel good. The mere fact that we have come this far, and we are observing Independence Day, to me, it's a big achievement. And first of all, I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making it all happen. And we look forward, we pray that we witness many more. But again, for me, it's a very important day in the sense that it's a day of reflection. Thanksgiving first, and then reflection. We reflect back the years that have passed and try to see what we have achieved so far. Based on the achievements and lessons learned, we scale up. Where there are constraints and challenges, we come up with recommendations as the way forward. And this requires all hands on deck. We Gambians, our donors, everybody who's in the Gambia, so we can push forward. We are a small country, and developing the Gambia is not difficult once we all come together. And it requires leaving nobody behind. And we have a good president. These 5 years, we have all seen the achievements that we have registered. So let's look at those and scale up. And where, as I mentioned earlier, there were challenges, we come with recommendations and push forward. But one thing is certain, once we put all our hearts together, the sky is the limit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. We appreciate your time. I'll engage Honorable as well. Good morning. Happy Independence, sir.
Happy Independence to you and to all Gambians.
What message do you have for Gambians?
Let me first of all say that I am a lucky man. In 1965, when we were having independence, I was in this Makati Square when our flag was raised. I witnessed when they said, Gambia cannot do it alone. I witnessed when it was time to go to Buyam and come back. It takes you 2 days. Not talking about going to Basse. So I have lived to see the progress of this country, but particularly the progress of this country in the past 5 years. Unless you don't want to see, every Gambian have seen the progress that this country has made in the past 5 years, in all fields. So I congratulate Gambians for having a president like President Adama Barrow, who believe in the development of this country. We all should be proud. I came from Banjul. There was a time if I have a guest, I cannot come into the city, particularly during the rainy season. Waterlogged everywhere, dust. Today, I am proud to call Banjul my home. I was the mayor of Banjul for 10 years. And I wish I was mayor of Banjul during the time of Adama Barrow. Because we have seen great progress in this country, and every Gambian should be proud. We must pray for him because he said to us, he wants to change this country to be like Dubai. And it is possible. So we must all work together, every Gambian, put hands on deck and make sure that we all play our part to make this country a better country. Once again, I congratulate every Gambian for this anniversary celebration.
Well, thank you very much, sir. As the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, we now engage our dear uncle as well. Honorable, happy independence. We're celebrating 57 years of nationhood today.
Thank you. Happy independence to you and every Gambian.
What does this day mean to us as a country?
It's a great day to every Gambian. I want to inform you that from 1987 to 1994, I was one of the lucky ones to be with the Jawara regime and was very much part of the celebrations as a parliamentarian and parliamentary secretary. And luckily again, the Barrow regime from 2017 to date, I'm part of the regime. So I feel very proud as a Gambian and as a human being to take part in these celebrations.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we appreciate your time as well. I have here also the Honorable Minister of Defense. Honorable, 57 years of independence. How far have we come as a country?
Well, first of all, we have to thank the Almighty Allah for being witness to a day like today. And we have to thank our founding fathers, our parents, who had cleared the fields to bring us to where we are today. So it's a day of celebration. It's a day of thanksgiving. It's a day of reflection. Where have we started? Where are we as a country? Where do we want to head to? This is what every Gambian should be thinking about. Where are we? Where do we want to head? We have to be thankful that there is peace in the country, that me and you are able to communicate. We have the armed forces on parade with all the sister services. We have members of cabinet and all the institutions, civil society, and all. We have a guest from Nigeria, the Amir of Kano, and lots of important personalities. So we are very thankful as a country, but also we thank the leadership, the peaceful nature of this executive, who always wants to play by the rule of law, respect for democracy, human rights, and tolerance. Now Gambians can get up and say a lot of things, but we should come together as a country and roll our sleeves and move on. But we can only do that when we have security in the country. So we ask all Gambians to support our security outfits and to support the country to move on so that we can continue to be an envy, not only to Africa, but to the whole world. So it is a day of content and gratification. It is a day that we should say, Alhamdulillah, like our Christian brethren will say, to God be the glory. We should be appreciative, but we should tie our waists and come together as a country, honor each other, respect each other, focus on the development agenda so that we can move this country into higher heights. So I congratulate you, Alhaji Muhammad, and your entire team for a job well done. And congratulations to all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Important messages there. The Minister of Defense. We'll also try to engage the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General. Honorable, happy independence.
Happy independence to you and to the rest of Gambians and all residents of the Gambia.
How do you feel being part of this important celebration?
Well, it is gratifying. It's an opportunity to witness an annual event. Some people were with us last year who are not able to be with us this year. Some are still around, but they are not able to attend or celebrate with us. So we pray for the sick, for God's mercy, for them to be cured and go back to their normal lives. Those who have passed, we pray for their souls to rest in eternal peace. So as a country, we are happy. Like my colleagues have said, this is a moment of stock taking. I think if you call yourself independent for 57 years, I think it's time for us to look at what have we achieved in 57 years of independence. Where do we want to be? How do we want to get there? So it's a moment of reflection, stock taking, and to renew our commitments as well, so that by the time the country gets to 100 years, it will be a country that will be an envy of the rest of our sister countries.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. Aliu, important messages there from cabinet ministers, from the Minister of Tourism, Minister for Women and Children Affairs, Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, as well as the Minister of Defense and Justice. Important messages there. And like they say, it's a moment of reflection, but also a day to be proud of, to celebrate what is 57 years of nationhood. Aliu.
Thank you very much, Ansumana Esonyasi, my colleague. They are speaking to some of the cabinet ministers who are already seated, awaiting the arrival of the president. Like I said, you're watching QTV, and we are broadcasting live from the Makati Square here in Banjul. It is 18 February. Gambia celebrating its 57th independence since it gets self-rule from Britain on 18 February, rather 1965. We're also broadcasting live on Q Radio on 103.3, and streaming on our different social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. Well, Mr. Mboch, you have heard from the cabinet ministers talking about the importance of the day, a day to reflect. I mean, for many, I mean, it is a day that, I mean, every Gambian should be proud of what we have achieved as a country, but there's still much more to achieve in terms of bettering the lives of the people. But what's your take on what you have heard from the ministers?
Yes, they are politicians. You sort of expect that sort of language, particularly on a day like today. You don't want to dampen it, and one understands why. And here we'll also try to do that, because it is commemorative. Yeah. Something was achieved. You know what I mean? And the serious people who were thinking about this, people like Cabral and others, they knew that the so-called independence was only the first step. So, and a very important first step. So they will say that. But for the rest of us, obviously, we have a kind of bruised reflection, particularly when you put it against our recent sort of, what do I call it, tortured history that we've gone through, and all the promises, the romance. We've all now sort of so disappointed. Think sort of anywhere you hear the doom and gloom narrative. That's one way of looking at it. I used to do that myself. Then it dawned on me that perhaps that is unfair. It's 57 years. Even when I take the life of an individual, what is 57 years? Now, when I do a bit of comparison, because it is important that you have these comparisons so that you can properly situate yourself. When I make a comparison, I take, for instance, Britain. When were they last invaded? Oh my God, how many centuries ago? They had all that time to experiment with different ideas and suffer what they had to suffer, the movement from monarchism to democracy, how long it took and that sort of thing. You go to the US, nearly 300 years and that sort of thing. Then you realize that actually, it's not bad. Could it have gone any other way? I mean, I think we underestimated our inheritance, the colonial inheritance. I think maybe that was underestimated. I don't think we got into how damaging that was. And in fact, but I do not know why not, because in 1945, William Du Bois was in Manchester when he said to the people there was Hastings Banda, Dr. Hastings Banda, future president of Malawi. There was Kwame Nkrumah was there. So you had all sorts. Their future presidents, and there was Jomo Kenyatta, and apparently he was a very good cook as well. So he said to them, Du Bois said to them, you people, you want to go and rule yourselves, but you had not ruled yourselves for a very, very long time. It is going to be extremely difficult. This was in 1945, quite prescient, really, and now we are beginning to see what he meant. But again, he was an historian and a philosopher. So really, sober people knew that it was going to be extremely difficult. Everybody knew that. But again, impatience, when we are in this poverty, we want things to change.
quite interesting there, Mr. Mboj. Well, viewers, if you're just watching, you're watching QTV, and we're broadcasting live from the Makati Square here in Banjul. As you are seeing on your screens, those are the fine men and women in uniform who will parade here before the audience as the Gambia celebrates its 57th independence today here at the Makati Square. Like I said, this is the same venue where the Union Jack was lowered for the last time on 18 February 1965 and the Gambian flag hoisted, marking the country's self-rule. But then, I mean, my colleague has now joined us, Ansumana Eso Nyasi. So, I mean, reflecting on this day, I mean, we all know that the journey to independence wasn't an easy one. I mean, is this something that anybody should have expected, that the journey to self-rule is never easy?
I mean, Aliu, I think, I mean, first I would again want to say happy independence anniversary to you and Mr. Mboj. This is a moment of reflection. You look at our journey, it wasn't easy like any other country. I mean, we had people who worked in the media, I mean, the pioneers of Gambian journalism who contributed their bit. You had, I mean, the union leaders as well who also contributed their bit. So it wasn't really, I mean, an easy journey. But I mean, thankfully, we've seen the transition as well from colonial rule to self-independence. We became a republic in 1970, and then we had the Sadauda regime all the way to 94, and then we had the Jammeh regime. Then 2017, we had another change. So we've transitioned several times as a country. But again, I think for me, it's more about what does the day really mean, I mean, to us as a country. How far have we come as a country? You know, was it really a worthy journey for us? Let's reflect back. I mean, what have we been able to achieve? What could we have done better? And let's say a few years from now, what kind of country would we want to be in terms of our democratic institutions, in terms of development as well, be it infrastructure and even human development. So again, on the journey, it has not been an easy journey. But again, I think it's, for me, a moment to celebrate, but a moment to take stock of, you know, how far we have come as a country.
Abarka bake Ansumana Eso Nyasi mbadingol melbe QTV jube kang animal be radio fran la moy kang mfelente mbali Makati Square Banjo Dulamia lanko bi Gambia be ba juda kan kabriye independence soto 1965 bimbe watole Makati Square lumbalen pro Gambia par nginem lungoto mi alanko Gambia ay independence soto from British rule musima wol mandara QTV honbe headare Q radio amron dodo Makati Square anuda do wondo joni Gambia hebe jurade bilabe hemno independence he jungo tubakobe duubi cabande jowi he jede 1965 well Ansumana josil gata rek tun bokki ngam ngi setan ak di degtu Q radio tam bes bi tay ban solo la am
jërëjëf Aliou bes bu am solo la tay Gambia ngi magal juroom fukki at ak juroom ñaar gannaaw bu momé bopam ba tay ndax xam nañ ne ci loxo ay tubaab lañ nekkoon yàlla def ci atum 1965 ñu daal di moom suñ boppa waaye atum 1970 si la suñ moom boppa gën a déggu ñu gis ne gannaaw loolu tamit réew Gambia am na jaar-jaar ñu jógee foofu ba atum 1994 am wécceeku boo xam ne am na ci réew mi atum 2017 tam am beneen wécceeku boo xam ne am na ci réew mi waaye li gën am solo mooy njëriñ bi nga xam ne bés bi am na ko am solo bi bés bi am ak i tamit bés la pour fàttaliku fan lañ jaar lana waral tey ñu war a mën a moom suñu bopp ak ñi nga xamante ne baax na si tamit Aliou ñu fàttaliku ñi nga xamante ne ñoo si jàpp ba tey Gambia moom boppam ñu si mel ni ñoom MC Cham ñoom Sa Dawda waaye balaa ñoom sax ñoom Edward Francis Small ñoom Dixon Kolia gaay ñoom ñëpp kenn ku nekk si ñooñu def nga sa wàlla pour gis ne réew mi moom na boppam nga xool fuñ jaar tamit bañ fi tollu tey kon bés la pour màggal suñu réew bés la buñ jëra màggal waaye tamit bés la pour bàyyi xel fàttaliku gëstuwaat gannaaw fan lañ jaar bi ak si fii tey ak ñi nga xamante ne ñoo si jàppa ba Gambia moom boppam kon bés bu am solo la Aliou.
Well, thank you very much, Ansumana Eso Nyasi. Well, you're still watching QTV and we're broadcasting live from the Makati Square here in Banjul. I am Aliou Cisse and I'm joined here on the panel by my colleague Ansumana Eso Nyasi and Mr. Modu Mboj. I mean, Mr. Mboj, every journey there is an objective. What were the main reason for having the likes of Sadauda Kairaba Jawara, the likes of Francis Small, you know, risking everything to ensure Gambia gains independence? Why is it important?
Yes, it's important we begin with Edward Francis Small, I think. Born in 1891, died in 1958. They call him the trailblazer of Gambian political consciousness. the first to go into the Legislative Assembly, the first to form unions, the first to organize a strike, the first to do all sorts of things. So you can see
he
why.
was quite a courageous man.
Absolutely. he not just in Gambia, he represented West Africa. He was a member of the National Congress of British West Africa. You know, so he was an extraordinary human being. And he engaged, forming the Farmers Association. He engaged with people. I think that is the example that we need to take. He was among the few educated in Bathurst, the colony. You know, you had the colony and the protectorate. Bathurst, Banjul, and everywhere else was protectorate. He was among the very few people who were educated. But here, what did he do? He deployed his education to the service of the people. I think that is extraordinarily important for us to learn. So we must begin there, and then afterwards the mantle moved on. I mean, people even say that maybe his Ratepayers Association was possibly really the first effective, the first political party really. We tend to give it to the Democratic Alliance by JC5, was in 1951, and then afterwards people like Gaba Jahumpa, the Gambia Muslim Congress came along, Pierre Sarinjai, the United Party came along, and in 1959, that was when we had the Protectorate People's Party first, then afterwards they changed it to the People's Progressive Party. So this is really what happened. And then really effectively, where do we go next? Who was the first chief minister? I think we all know this now. First chief minister, Pierre Sarinjai. And then afterwards, Sadara, was it by 1962, became prime minister, and then 65, still it continued, until 1970, became the president with republicanism. But again, what else was going on? How did we conceptualize our independence? What was Jawara's program? Because when we look at these things, we look at, for me anyway, I look at two things. What were the ideas that governed you, and to what ideas and political theories were you appealing to when you're talking to the rest of the world? There are two elements here. So with Sadauda, he looked at our situation. What did we have? There were what? 2 hospitals, 4 high schools, secondary schools, and we had to take what they call aid in grant, £745,000 for us to pay our salaries and wages and all the rest of it. So how do I strategize? What can I do? So his method was the orderly development, one step at a time. Of course, a lot of people would be in a hurry. How come you haven't done this? How come you haven't done that? How come you haven't done that? But you really couldn't. He couldn't do a lot of things. So piecemeal, step by step, he tried to do things. But what did we depend on? A single cash crop. Groundnut. When you don't have any rain, you are in trouble. Yes, he became a victim of that towards the 70s, going into the 80s, and things were very difficult. Hence, 81 happened. The attempted coup in 1981.
Kukoi Samba
Sanyang. Absolutely, because always when you have these things, look to the social, the political, that's really where the reasons are, you know, for these things to happen. So, but by then, well, luckily for us, we had an agreement with Senegal.
The Senegambia Confederation.
Senegal, yeah, but this was before the Confederation. This was a defense pact that Jawara had signed with Senghor some time back. So apparently it was then Minister of Justice, Attorney General Emel Saho, Lamin Saho, who said to the president that let us invoke that pact. Then Senegal came, you know, nice relationship. And then we all know the rest is history. They had, you know, according to some historians, let me put it that way, they had always wanted to annex even the Gambia because of the Casamance issue. So they wanted this confederation so much, you know. So maybe, they say, Jawara was forced into it, even though according to Jawara in his book, he suggested it.
You mentioned, Edward Francis Small earlier. He was a man whose, fight for political consciousness, was beyond battles. Yeah. You remember the Balangar incident. Yeah. You remember his exploits in Basse as well, in Brikama. He was a guy, who gave his all to ensure that his people, were free from colonial rule. And you remember also, his history tells us that the British, he really did not have it easy with them. They were always, either blocking him somewhere or, putting up, stumbling blocks along the way. They gave him a tough time.
Just to discourage him.
Yes, just to discourage him. But he never gave up. Until he died, the guy never gave up. And really, he's one of those we really have to credit for our independence today. I think people like Edward Francis Small should be, honored. And for me, the best way to go about it is to, have a national monument. Where we can always look at and remember him for his contribution to national
and it's good that we have the former Royal Albert now renamed after Edward Francis Tumaje Hospital, and we also saw the International Conference Center, named after Sadao Kairaba Jawara. Quite a good move there, Mr. Mbo, to have these legends. These people been remembered for their sacrifice.
We have to celebrate them. All of them. The Persar guys, the founding fathers.
Exactly.
We have to celebrate them. The I am Gaba Jahumpas.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because let's be clear here what was going on. Gambia wasn't unique. When you look at the wider post-colonial, it was coming towards independence. When you look at that period, the whole of West Africa, all the educated people, this was like the main thing on the menu, as it were, of politics, the independence. So you had these people, and it was also about Africa as well joining in a kind of conversation. Remember that we were breaking loose the same time that in Europe and in America they were also breaking loose.
Well, it seems the Chief of Defense Staff, Yakuba Drame, has also arrived at the venue. Earlier on we saw the Inspector General of Police, Abdullah Sanyang, who had earlier on arrived here. The Chief Justice of the Gambia is seated, cabinet ministers and other invited dignitaries are all seated, including the Amir of Kano from Nigeria is also in the country to witness this important occasion. Yes, Mr. Mboch, you can continue.
Yes, back then we used to have presidents. Yeah. I remember seeing Sekou Touré, was it Hillel Lehman, and I think Sheikh Stevens. We used to see we used to look forward to that. Every independence you'll see somebody. But this is it. Yes, the wider stuff. So this is we got independence as we were breaking loose in Europe and in America as well. A similar thing was going on. So you had this international current. So all these educated people who got the bug as it were. And what was the international current? In the West, notions like rock and roll, they all emerged in the 60s. People were breaking free from an old mold, from an old way, an old order. So this had attracted all the intellectuals, as it were, into this fight. So our Gaba Jahumpas, they were highly educated. The Persar is educated. The Edward Francis Small, and then afterwards Jawara, who studied in Scotland. They were all part of this stream, this really global stream. The ideas. So when you look
stars, right?
Yes.
They were educated. They really understand issues and they know where to get it.
Absolutely. So they all were part of our. That's it. So they were all part of this geist, can we call it the zeitgeist of the time. So they all came together and stood for Gambia. We're going to have independence and all the rest of it, which was fantastic. Maybe afterwards what happened, perhaps that wasn't really for them. Now we are beginning to have a much more realistic appraisal, as it were, assessment of our situation. Maybe that was their historical moment. That was really the only thing that they could have done, given the circumstances. The rest must be done by other people, which is actually happening now. Today we've got Barrow.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
3 presidents since independence, 1965, 57 years. Gambia has only 3 presidents. Why Ansuman just knew Bamtokasi Olaf rek bes bi ban solo la am ñu bari nga ne bes tok la pour jema fatale ko dekk bi fan la jaar beñ aga fu ñu wara aga way ndax lu taxone ku melni ñam Sadao Kairaba Jawara ku melni ñam Gaba Jahumpa ku melni ñam Francis Small ñu sacrifice lepp pour mëna ngata Gambia mom na bopam tay so doon fatale ko ci jaar naam degala amna lo xamne achieve nañ ko assez kanté waye am be legi amna ay jafé jafé yam tam nit yang ko dunda yow noko jangate
wa Aliou Gambia gannaaw bi momé bopam ba tay dafa melni dañ ba amna ci jaar yo xamne rew mi dunda nako ñu nekkay tamit ci ñetti loxo yu outé gannaaw bi nga xamantene mom nañ suñu bop ci loxo tuba bi ñu gis ne kii di Saa Dawda la yàlla wërsëgaloon mu amoon xilaafa réew mi ba atum 1994 ñu nekkaat ci yeneen loxo di président Jammeh ba atum 2017 président Barrow ñëw nga xool ñetti nguur yi le benn bu nekk si ñoom ak jamonoom la woon jamono Saa Dawda nag xam nañ ne dooreen bi yombutoon ndax dañ jógewoon ci ay loxo war a sox ba taxaw am yenn institution yoo xamante ne yàlla ak ñi nga xam ne ñoo xeex boppam tey national institution yooyu ñu gis ne gaaw bi nga xamante ne nguur am nañu yokkute ci wàllu li nga xamante ne mooy xool dal yi xool yenn borom liggéeykaay nga xamante ne tey réew mi mu ngi ko bugg ci dundal réew ak loolu bu ñu ci loxo yi jaar waaye nag nga xoolee ci wàllum jafe-jafe yi nga xam ne réew mi mu ko politically ci yokk ci wàllu ndax parti yi gën a bëri dañ la gën a eew ci wàllum politique ñi moom nañ ca ndax fu la neex far lu la neex ci réew mi nga wax lépp loo xamante ne gis nañ ko ànd ak sa xalaat wala jaarul yoon nga wax ci sa xalaat loolu si dinañ ci yaara torop waaye nañ ci wàllu infrastructure te boo xoolee bëri na yenn jafe yoo xamante ne ñu ngi ko kontal loolu ci man jàpp ne moo jar a kees moo jar a xel bés la pour ñu fàttu ñi nga xamante ne ñoo xel moom si boppam bés la pour fàttale ko fii jaar bés la pour fàttale ko tamit lépp loo xamante ne ci taal yi la bokk waaye bés la pour gëstuwaat fan lañ toll ñu comme réew ci wàllu ndox ci wàllu développement ak naka la jafe-jafe yooyu
jërëjëf Ansana Estonia ngol be kiti be kan hasat en mbale makati squad amen ko di Gambia ba so mo independence kabri e jallo ini bol na akira bi sanyi ni woro abi bol ra jam ay lamian ko mo nyafra na abeta ko amir of kanu me bar fon na gelo fana fon na bay do jang sa nan chief assistant de jallo fana nata kabin saya wala no banko nyata ngor his excellency president Adama Barrow me ata na be kana ke ma be ni lu bada usidam do hajoni no makas ko ya do joni tima akwai no jallo tima minister be kari tima e ko kari imoro to Nigeria kan ko tima do amar ko ya de dira ko bila Gambia fa 19 ko duubi cawne jeede di biya hebi hoore mabbe mabbe misambo let's now look at the issue of was at some point was from and in its on second part it was successful again for some people the actual independence that way are not a day like today. What's your understanding? Yes,
actually independence in 1970
on in 1965
absolutely he was the prime minister, he was a constitutional monarch. The queen was the head of state, the head of government. So for me, it doesn't matter much more people together, it's just semantic. Back to the 80s, when you take to the 60s, when you look at our economy, there was an average economic support for 4.5%. We are told by the World Bank, population of 2.6. And in the 60s, 68, we have high capital income in this country. So things were good because we have to have
unless if I'm wrong, the first lady of the Kenya Highlands, Madam Fatu Babaro and ladies. I mean, if you're watching and you're following us on Q Radio, well, the first lady and this lady, Taj Malbaro, right here at the view, and you still watch QTV and you're broadcasting live in Banjul, where the country country is celebrating, or should we say, community its independence day. I mean, it was actually this venue on February 1965 that the Union Jack was lowered last time. And then the flag hoisted, marking the country's independence. Quite significant. It was Mr. Mbito, old people who witnessed that particular. I mean, they tell you it was quite memorable day, quite emotional.
Oh, absolutely. But so be careful. Remember that even during independence, there was some who were saying that should we go now? Should we have independence? They didn't quite like it. So that's why actually the first referendum was in November. In February, in November, they had the first referendum where the government failed. So a lot of people were not sure at all what would consent make them feel full independence. So there was an element as well. Maybe it took a while from them. They became more confident in 1970. That was when they had I'm telling you. Then we had a good harvest. There was a good harvest until what? 1969, between 1969 and 70 going on.
You are tuned into Q Radio 103.3 FM, the new voice of the Gambia.
Q Radio 103.3, the new voice of the Gambia.
This your man DJ Nick's live here on Q Radio 103.3 at the new voice of the Gambia.
103.3 la for Montenegro chonin bukosa mbute pra.
Yeah, I'm from the GA line to the West Coast. I'ma show you where we stay, where the sun shines and the people smile. And red, white, blue, white, green, I'ma rep that always. Yeah, I'm from the GA. Yeah, I'm from the GA line to the West Coast. I'ma show you where we stay, where the sun shines and the people smile. And red, white, blue, white, green, I'ma rep that always, always. I'm repping for that red, white, blue, white, green. Yeah, I'm repping for that red, white, blue, white, green. Oh yeah, I'm rapping for that red, white, blue, white, green. Yeah, I'm rapping for that red, white, blue, white, green.
I'm being nice, take a being a hamne. If I neck a banner, oh no, no. I'm being nice. All we know is peace and love in my motherland. I'm being nice.
Tune in to Q Radio 103.3 FM, the new voice of the Gambia.
Into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Join the Gambia's fastest growing network and enjoy high-speed 4G LTE.
The way it was. How do we celebrate this back then? I think the militarization of this celebration started from 94 onwards. And you can, I mean, he's quite right. I remember when we were much, much younger, I mean, it's a privilege really for us back then to be selected I mean, to be part of the school teams that would be at Independence Stadium or even here at McCarthy Square, I mean, to celebrate this day. I mean, that excitement, that feel, I mean, it isn't there anymore. And I think, given the significance of this day, as far as our political history is concerned, we need to, bring back that excitement.
And how about having regional celebration? I mean, perhaps today there is somebody all the way in Basse or somewhere around Bolibana who would have loved to be here. But I mean, from what we are saying, the Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Touré, is also entering the McCarthy Square now, and that signals that any moment from now, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, will be here to preside over the celebration. I mean, the first in his second term since he was re-elected in December. I mean, Mr. Butch, regional celebration, do you think it's also important, or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, let us decentralize it.
Yes,
There's no denying that. Let us decentralize it. Absolutely. I'm not denying that. It was just about the nature, the character of the celebration. And maybe, I was just thinking, as I was talking there, maybe the change is emblematic of a certain kind of politics now. Then they focus on the kids, because that showed optimism, the future. The militarization came to sort of mean the desperation, the disappointment, and then we shifted. That shift, I think it follows really the political failures, as it were. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. The army would have been in the background, and civilians would be foregrounded. But I think it is emblematic of a certain shift, as it were, of our society itself.
I agree. I quite agree.
And that's the Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Touré, has also arrived. Mbadi on Melbe Q TV, Jube Kang, and Melbe Q Radio Lamoy Kang, Bedamento Bankola Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Touré. Flende adavana fotona bayto jang McCarthy Square pour kaneke mabe ning jula rola mena jang McCarthy Square Gambia kabring France Toto from British rule on 18 February 1965. Musina won menda QTV won be headade Q Radio do won do joni Vice President Dr. Aissatou Touré ko kanko hewti do McCarthy Square pour kanko ara o tawe he ngo jurago nganda ko on woni wonde do McCarthy Square bawdo on First Lady Fatima Barrow he Lady Sadio Mbalo Barrow kambe kadi hewtima do McCarthy Square de man ne wata sela jabi President or His Excellency Adama Barrow kanko o hewta do McCarthy Square pour o tawe ngo juragol hande so fema nakane Vice President exina am na ñu doon waxtane ci wàllu celebration bi bu ñëk bi dañ gis ne xalé yi dañ daan am contenté indépendance muy jege waaye def mi loolu yëpp ngay wecceeku léegi ci sa xalaat amin lan nga fone loolu lañu war a def pour mën a gis ne xam nga contenté buñ daan am xale yi sanga sorte buñ daan am ci wàllu indépendance xam nga yàkkamti ñëw nga uniforme bu ees sol daala yu ees ak yooyu yëpp hype bi fona dafa am solo pour ñu indi waat ko pour xam nga nit yi mën a feel ne dëgg-dëgg ñu ngi célébrer son indépendance.
waaw Aliou loolu am na solo mbokk yi kooku ngeen a gis noonu si screen bi mooy kii di Bakene ko njiiti réew mi ñu gis ne way takku der yi ñu ngi ko teeru bu am solo waaye li nga wax dëgg la Mr Mbodj wax na ko fi ci kàllaama nasaraan jamono boobu niñ daan màggalee bés bi ak léegi dafa mel ni am na lu ci uute te da nga gis ne nit ñi niñ ko daan séentoo ak léegi sax dafa uute ndax jamono boobu xam nañ ne li ci ëpp ci ñi nga xamante ne ñu naan gën a yàkkamte bés bi sax mooy ndongo daara yi xale yu student yi xam nga buñ la boolee woon sax pour nga bokk ci ñiy dem da ngaa gis ne da ngaa sawar ndax dañ leen ñëwal uniforme bu ees jox la daal yi ees ñëpp a ko daan séntu bés bi te mag ñi sax niñ ko daan màggalee léegi dafa ute te foog naa jàngat biñ ci def mooy ne soo bàyyi xel atum 94 nga xamante ne way takku der yi ñoo jëloon réew mi gis nañ ne jamono boobu ba léegi niñ ko màggalee ni ñoo màggalee bés bi dafa wuute ndax Mr Mboy wax na ko fi li ci ëpp jamono boobu ndongo daara yi nga gis xale school yi nga gis ci kanam waaye léegi way takku der yi nga gis naam ne seen colin rafet na waaye foog naa buñ mënee delluwaat ci niñ ko daan màggalee nga xam ne ñëpp dañ koo séntu tamit dina gën a rafet waaye li ci ëpp solo mooy ne bés bu ñu war a puugaroo la bés bu ñu war a màggal la anam bu ñu ko màggalee nag am na li ci wécceeku te loolu lu ñu war a mën a gëstuwaat la Aliou.
jërëjëf kon yow foog nga ne war nañ mën a gis ne région bu nekk am seen on celebration parce que dina am ay xale yoo xam ne dinañ bëgg a ñëw Banjul waaye mënuñ koo meeg parce que mën naa fi ñu dëkk dafa sori waaye foog nga ne am na solo pour région bu nekk ñu am seen on celebration ñoom tam ñu mën a fekk bokk si li nga xam ne moo nekk li nga xam ne réew mi yëpp a ko bokk.
waaw gis nga Aliou laal nga fu am solo ndax suñoo màggal bés bi duñu wax ne Banjul independence dañoo ne Gambia te Gambia nag réew mi yëpp la kon foog naa Mr Mbodj junñee na ko fii tamit dina baax tunda bu nekk ci réew mi ñoom tamit ñu war a mën a am opportunity pour màggal bés bi am na jamono boo xam ne daf daan am su ma mënee fàttali
daf
daan am waaye foog na loolu tamit war nañ ko mën a dekkalaat nga xamante ne kenn ku nekk ci réew mi ak fu waaye munti nekk ci réew mi di nga yëg sa bopp si bés bi te xam ne bés bi bési ñëpp la Aliou.
Jërëjëf Ansumana Eso Nyasi. Well, viewers, you're still watching QTV and we're broadcasting live from the Makati Square here in Banjul. It is the Gambia celebrating its 57th independence since it attains self-rule from Britain on 18 February 1965. And as you are seeing on your screens, those are our fine men and women in uniform who will be performing the parade here. Is of course the main highlights of this event. And of course, school children are also here, civil society organizations, and the women groups will also be here to march past the president, who is expected to deliver an Independence Day statement here to Gambians. Mr. Mbodj, we talk about the journey, the Gambia after 57 years of nationhood. The likes of Sadao Kairaba, Jawara, Francis Sumo, like you said, they had good intentions for actually sacrificing everything to ensure this country, gain independence. And looking back after 57 years, where do you think the country should really improved in order to ensure that the purpose for which the Gambia was granted independence is not regretted?
Oh, well,
like you said, some people are still debating. Was it even in fact necessary for us to struggle for independence?
Yeah, so this is the thing. That was why I said earlier that maybe we had underrated really the inheritance we got from this colonial experience. See, the colonial experience was much more than merely the juridical control.
Exactly.
It relied on a structure of knowledge and power which really facilitated the physical, psychological, linguistic subordination of a society. They essentially destroyed it. So in trying to move from one particular kind of social organization...
Mr. Mbodj, let's now go to the main MC of the event. It seems the President of the Republic will soon be here.
And please assist by Superintendent Sumana F. Sanyang, and the parade adjutant is Major Christine Mendy. The various detachments leading them. First is the Gambia National Army Male Detachment led by Captain Abdullah Sanyang, and it assisted by Lieutenant Banding Bayo and Lieutenant Aliu Damfa. The second detachment is the female detachment of the same service led by Captain Esra Trawal Ndur and assisted by Captain Sinabu Jata and Lieutenant Harisa. The third detachment is the Gambia Navy female detachment led by Navy Lieutenant Sirandur and assisted by Navy Sub-Lieutenant Lalenjai and Navy Sub-Lieutenant Fatu Luis Demba. This is followed by the Gambia Navy Male Detachment led by Navy Lieutenant Ibrahim Waisane, AB assisted by Navy Sub-Lieutenant Musa Baji and Lamin Dabo. The 5th Detachment, the National Republican National Guards, and is led by Captain Kaifu Bojang for the male detachment and assisted by Lieutenant Idrissa Bojang, Lieutenant Ibrahim Sisi. This is followed by the female detachment of the same service.
On your screens, that is the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the third President of the country since we gained independence, and today he is going to preside over the first in his second term as the Gambia celebrate its 57 nationhood. The President is now arriving at the Makati Square. Badingol melbe QTV jube kang ani melbe Q radio fanan lamoy kang abedamin to banko nyatongo His Excellency President Adama Barrow wolbe fudakan nang jang baye to jang Makati Square mboki ngami nange setan QTV ak di deglu Q radio fum nekani ngami mo nek President Adama Barrow njiiti réew mi moo nekk di ex ci fii ci Makati Square musidɓe am ɗo ɗo joni président o Adama Barrow ko kanko woni hewtude ɗo ɗo Makati Square ɗo ɗo Banjul eso njiiti réew mi exina
waaw Aliou mbokk yi comme ni ngeen ko gisee rek njiiti réew mi His Excellency président Adama Barrow agsi na fii ci baye bi ci Banjul te xam naa ci lu bañ a yàgg rek dinañ tàmbali li nga xamante ne moo di programme bi bés bi si boppam jamono ji ñu gis ne ñu ngi ko màggal comme ni ngeen ko déggee rek ci gannaaw loolu ki nga xamante ne moo bokk si kooku mooy Dahaba Aliou.
waaw Dahaba
lay dégg baatam mooy Dahaba mu ne moom mooy géwéli président Barrow kon gis ngeen ni ñi ñu ngi teeru ki nga xamante ne moo leen jiiti réew mi soldaar yi tamit ak way takk der yi police baan ami baan ñëpp a ngi fii tamit yaa gis loolu Gambien yi di tàccu ki nga xamante ne moo di njiiti réew mi nga agsi na fii ci baye bi kon bés bu am solo la pour réew mi ñuy màggal Aliou lii du bési politique bési Gambie la tey Gambie moo aye te baax na képp koo xamante ne doomi réew mi nga ak foo munti nekk ci àdduna tey war ngaa mun a am loo yëg sa yaram xam nga tey suma réew mu ngi màggal bés bu moom boppam kon bés bu am solo la Aliou.
jërëjëf Ansumana Eso Nyasi, that's the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who is now being received by the Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Touré. Mr. Mbodj, the President has arrived. What does this remind you? I mean, you've witnessed independence under Jawara, under Jammeh. How were they welcome anytime they entered the venue?
Well, I'm not sure about the Jammeh bit, but for the Jawara bit, that I mean, the president, we had this for the president. He was this larger than life figure. And actually, when the president's vehicle, when he was driving past, and I just wondered, actually, he was born in 1965, and 16th of February, just 2 days out of it. So quite extraordinary. So happy birthday to him. Happy birthday. Yes, absolutely extraordinary. So for me, never mind what's happening economically, never mind our disappointments. Every time we have a kind of national celebration, maybe it is an opportunity for us, okay, from now on we'll do it better. Every time I celebrate these things, or I commemorate these things as they would have it, they wouldn't have me celebrate it, we say commemorate, okay, fine. Every time we commemorate this, perhaps it's another opportunity for younger people to become more reflective. As we keep on doing it, you're going to have that generation that's going to come and say, hey, look, enough is enough. Then we want to move on to another level. I think it's that commitment. I'm not sure whether we've made that commitment in a serious way. I'm not sure.
It's been welcomed by the parade.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellencies, esteemed visiting dignitaries, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, as protocol requires before we enter into any program proper, we commit ourselves in the mighty hands of Allah by seeking His blessings for a history and successful event. On that note, may I respectfully invite the Imam of and leaders in the Christian prayer.
Safun la fait. Korbe fa dog di.
Jàmm rek dox ci diggante yëgal ne man maa daan di joxante Amin ya Rabbi Imam. May I at this juncture respectfully invite the chairman of the Christian Council, Bishop Adiko, to lead us in the Christian prayers.
Blessed be the nation which God is Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. Psalm 33 and verse 12. The Lord be with you. Fellow Gambians and all residents of the Gambia, let us thank God for giving us the opportunity to celebrate 57th independence anniversary of our in peace, love, and joy. Great. Let us continue to ask God to give us the ability and willingness to forgive those who in one way or the other have exploited this nation and violated our human rights in the past, and in work together as partners of mutual benefits. Heavenly Father, we render genuine thanks and express profound gratitude for the provision, security, providence, assurance, infinite mercy, and love you continue to bestow upon us. Remember the Gambia, O Lord, let you show favor to your people. Come to our aid by your saving grace, that we may enjoy the prosperity you chose, your chosen ones, that we may share in the joy of your nation and joy in your inheritance in giving praise. We remember in our prayers all those that have been infected and affected by it, particularly COVID-19, and seek your intervention. Heal our land in Jesus' name. We commit to your divine care our President and the entire executive, legislative, and the judicial arms of government in this nation. Teach them your ways, so that they may continue to find favor with you. Endow them with wisdom to design your will for the Gambia, so that they will work according to your divine plan. We pray for all state and non-state actors in development, all sectors in government, political parties, civil society organizations, including the non-governmental organizations, and the private sector, that each will individually and collectively go the extra mile to contribute fruitfully towards improving and enhancing the well-being of all Gambians and residents in our country. We pray for unity and collaboration among our people, that we may attain a sense of patriotism, efficiency, effectiveness in all facets of our development. Empower our youth and women with relevant, quality, and productive capacities that will attract investment to attain food security and economic growth that will filter down to the poorest household and bridge the socio-economic inequality gap. Our Father and our God, we pray for the energy sector, knowing that you may give insight and resources to address important and electricity challenges in our nation, particularly being on the south in a sustainable manner within the shortest possible time. We commit to your care the teachers, nurses, agricultures, security personnel, and other service providers. May grant us wisdom to serve according to your will and blessing. In Jesus' name, as we approach National Assembly and local government elections, we pray for a peaceful, free, and fair election. Above all, we pray that the various constituencies may make wise choices according to your will. We pray we praise you, Lord, and give you thanks to Almighty God for your steadfast love. Fellow Gambians and all those who celebrate with us, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift down the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace, perfect peace, that this world can never give. Of God. All, now and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Alvaro, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Barbaro and Lady Samuel Barbaro, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Royal Highness the Emir of Kano, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, His Lordship, the Chief Justice of the Gambia, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of the National Assembly, and members of the Judiciary, Your Excellencies, members of the Republican Council of War, the Chief of the Office of the Gambia Forces, the Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, the Armed and Civil Service Chiefs, General Officers, and Senior Officers present, heads of local departments, non-governmental organizations, participants, private companies and institutions, venerable legislators, members of Congress, distinguished organizations, ladies and gentlemen, all honorable students and respected. I am Dr. Manyasan, Director of Public Relations, Gambia Armed Forces, and it has been an honor since the beginning of the ceremony for this special occasion, the 57th Independence and Association Story. This is a celebrated celebration indeed. For this day, intensify the unity of global and the Gambian flag system to mark the birth of a nation called the Gambia. On this 18th day of February, therefore, we gather to celebrate, we gather to honor, we gather to commemorate, we gather to reflect and to pay a special homage to a day that shaped us as a free people
within a geographical space called the Gambia. For we remember too well that on this day, the Gambia joined the great family of free nations as an independent nation. Hence, the 18th of February is set aside each year as a national day in the Gambia to celebrate, reflect, and honor this fateful day when the chains of bondage and colonialism were broken and the Gambia became a nation of free and dignified people. On this day, it has been made clear that the Gambia is now the free homeland of the Gambian people. That as a country liberated from the colonial yoke, it has natural rights. And these rights are the rights to sovereignty, territorial integrity, political and economic independence. On this day, at independence in 1965, the new nation called the Gambia declared it bears no allegiance, obedience or adherence to any foreign power or state. That only the sovereign people of the Gambia have the right to determine who is to lead this country and how it is to be governed. And no foreign power or state has the right to determine who is to lead our country and its manner of government. On this day, the Gambia and her people armed with faith and hope for the spirit of progress and peace for a greater nation embarked on this historic journey in search of socio-economic development and growth. Hence, the befitting theme for this year's independence has been more appropriately as lost. Economic independence is possible. On that note, I have the singular honor and privilege to announce that we will now witness the inspection of the troops of parade by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Al-Goboro, Parade Commander.
meeting.
ladies and gentlemen, we will now be witnessing 3 bodies of fire for joy on this auspicious occasion. All our watch not to panic. It's part of the parade proceedings. Thank you. Your Excellencies, you may resume your seats.
and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr.
Please rise for the national anthem. We will resume minutes.
Your Excellency, after the might pass in slow and in quick time, advance to review order, fire for the joy and the three teachers. May I have your permission to march off the parade, Your Excellency?
It's granted.
Will march off to the right in right turn.
and gentlemen, after the greeting of the great ceremony, I now want to see people who are able to see the ceremony this morning. The Honorable Prince of the Nations, the seat of the presidency, Madam Hamid Jansuso, Rahman.
I'm sure if we are to relate that to a human being, it's close to retirement if you are in a civil or public service. So that means that a lot needs to be done, or a lot has to be done. And if we reflect on our life as a nation, we've come a long way. As our forefathers did their best to ensure that we attain political independence from the British colonial masters. However, we should not just be content with that, as we realize that it is not enough to have political independence. How do we advance as a nation to enhance our economic growth, to improve on our socio-economic and political lives? These are very key. As we continue to celebrate this day every year, we need to continue to reflect and challenge ourselves as citizens of the country, as well as friends of the country, as to how we continue to advance our nation. This is very important, as every year we gather the school children representing many of their colleagues around the world or country to march past to mark this important day in our history. But these are also the leaders of tomorrow. They need to be prepared from the education point of view, moral development, as much as commitment to nationhood and to be patriotic. I think I will allow the policeman to march past so that as they lead the schools, they will be able to hear more about this students marching past us and the country. That's Western School. That is just about to pass. Western School, as you know, is one of the mission schools in the Gambia, and they have been around for a long time. And then Ambium, as I said earlier, led by opened in 1963. And it was sponsored by Mr. Pauli, known as Master Pauli. Aside from that, we also have St. Augustine's, Upper District School, David Hill, and Kabajahuka, then the Military and Upper Basic also, and St. James Upper Basic Schools. Ladies and gentlemen, this is always a memorable day for students who have gone through this experience of marching on Independence Day. So they will always remember, as we have all done, especially the other ones. We have the senior secondary schools, St. Augustine's, St. Joseph's, WMJP5, Kabajahuka School, that is the senior secondary school, as well as the Gambia Senior Secondary School, which was opened in 1876, led by Reverend K. Philhouse. This is where we end this year's March Past. The reason being that it is low-key, but it is important that as the students march past His Excellency, we have also our flag man and woman, Mr. Small and Smart, who are always here with our governors. They are always beside the president, wherever he is, to give some life to what is happening. That's the interpreters group. They are all part of it. Of course, we have our Kora, led by Jaliba Kiate. This is part of Gambian history, and the Kora, you know, played a lot in the Gambian political history also. To follow the image of our country as an independent nation, we must continue to ask questions. Having attained political independence from the British rule 57 years ago, we must appreciate and remember the founding fathers like late Sarada Kairaba Jawara and many men and women who were with him to ensure that the attainment of political independence is possible. However, we will continue to test our generation to make some of the achievements with further improved economic development, with dedication, hard work, and honesty. Trust the managers
Are you done?
Let us focus our energies on the positive and build on our strengths and work towards our weaknesses, because this country can only be advanced by us as Gambians and the movements of the Gambians who believe that we need to advance our country in a serious way. Let us work together. The Gambia has a potential. With over 60% of youth, a population being youthful, that means that we have a lot of energy out there. Let us put those energies in the right places. With the right policy environment, we will be able to fast track our development. As we celebrate today, we must all reflect wherever we are as Gambians, men and women, young and old, to find a solution to ask how each of us can contribute in our ways to make sure that we advance this country. On that note, Excellencies, distinguished guests, gentlemen, ladies, boys and girls, and our teachers, education sector and officers, and all those who have honored this great day, allow me to invite His Excellency Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia and Grand Master of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, to deliver his speech on the 57th Independence Day celebration. Your Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellencies, the First Lady Fatuba Barrow and Madam Sajo Malo Barrow, former Vice Presidents in attendance, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, my Lord, the Chief Justice, Honorable Members of Cabinet and the National Assembly, Lord Mayors of Banjul and Kanifi Municipality, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives of international organizations and partners, political party leaders, government officials and service chiefs, religious leaders, civil society organizations, distinguished personalities, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let me also acknowledge the presence of His Royal Highness of the State of Kano in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is here with us. We are honored to have him. Today marks the 57 years since the Gambia attained independence from British rule in 1965. As we celebrate our independent anniversary, we can also rejoice at the realization that there is no longer any African nation under colonial rule. This makes political independence no longer the issue it was decades ago, and it gives a broader significance to the country's independence and justifies our celebration. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in this era, the dilemma of African countries largely remains the attainment of economic independence in an interdependent world. Like many other nations around the world, this is one of the Gambia's major challenges. As a result, linking it with political independence, democracy and national unity, economic independence is the key focus of my address today. Although it is my view that absolute economic independence is impractical, it is certain that we can reduce our heavy dependence on the outside world. The question is, how can we do this meaningfully? The solution depends hugely on how practical we are and how far we choose to go in raising our productivity and production capabilities and outputs, while minimizing imports and maximizing exports. The imbalance between imports and exports for the country is enormous, and this needs to be offset. Generally, there is a great need to transform the population into a more productive resource. To free ourselves from economic dependence, among other strategies, we must invest more freely in the productive sectors, produce as much of what we consume as we need, and eat more homemade products. By the same token, we need to expand and patronize local businesses while developing, encouraging, and tapping local talents. A lot of potential to increase national income generation lies in organizing our communities to set up joint businesses, engage in more productive ventures, and make the most of our natural resources. All ineffective approaches have to give way to greater application of technology and modern techniques of production. Industrialization is solely one of the key areas to promote and develop. We should work towards heavily mechanizing and diversifying agriculture, preserving and processing our produce, and changing our lifestyles to depend less on imported goods, especially imported food commodities. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in discussing economic independence, my vision for the Gambia is a nation with top-class infrastructure, sufficient energy for national coverage, and a technology-supported society that matches the digital world, all of which propel growth, economic development, and social cohesion through an inadequately equipped human resource base. To advance economically, there is an urgent need to engage, value, and derive value from whatever we do. We should insist on designing value-driven projects and programs that add value to life and livelihoods of the people, and ensure that our interventions yield tangible results that are not short life. The next 5 years provide opportunities to pursue such noble goals with more passion and vigor. We now have the chance to be proactive and be better organized to utilize our resources more efficiently and usefully. The world is moving fast, and we must keep moving equally fast. I challenge the relevant ministries and institutions to transform such ideals into workable strategies and infuse them into our next development plan and national policies. Fellow Gambians, distinguished guests, boys and girls, with support from a number of other political parties and presidential candidates, I contended under the banner of the National People's Party. Nonetheless, I will maintain an open door policy to listen and accommodate views, suggestions, and persons who honestly want to work with us. Democracy will continue to be our political system, but it does not mean democracy merely characterized by elections. I believe in democracy as a political system for advancement, development, self-determination, and social cohesion. For me, democracy offers us a system to organize the people for peace, stability, freedom, self-reliance, and respect for rights and the rule of law. In relating democracy to the Gambian situation, ours should be a democracy that guarantees freedom, respect community values, accommodates African viewpoints, and recognizes subgroups as part of our diverse nation. This is the concept of democracy that reflects the will of the people and their hopes and desires. From this point of view, economic independence must be linked to political independence within a social context. This will allow us to apply democratic principles in harmony with our economic frameworks and social settings. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I will continue to stress that the underlying factors for economic independence, development, and progress are peace, security, and stability. The responsibility of preserving these values does not entirely rest upon the security services, in spite of the related duties and assignments they execute. It is a common responsibility to all of us, based on how we coexist, respect the law, discharge our duties, and guard against doing wrong. No amount of external support or policies can entrench peace and stability in our communities if we choose not to be civil enough. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate the entire nation on this auspicious day, and I thank all those who continue to help us pursue the dream of transforming the Gambia into a desirable, democratic, and prosperous nation we want it to be. In particular, boys and girls, I thank you and your parents and guardians for your smart appearance and performance this morning. Similarly, I thank the education sector personnel, their stakeholders, and our partners for their praiseworthy contribution to our development process. The education sector shall remain my government's priority, as human capital development and advancement rest on an educated population. As such, to renewed partnerships with development partners, My government will work towards consolidating the gains made over the years for the attainment of quality education at every level on the education cycle. I encourage all students to take advantage of the government's efforts to create the required conducive environment for effective teaching and learning, in addition to the well-trained teachers and educational materials continually provided to enhance both students and teacher performance. You are assured of a brighter future, knowing that the ground is level enough for you to succeed. Scholarships, employment, and other income earning opportunities are available to help you become productive members of society. You are encouraged to take your education with more seriousness and commitment. As the future lies in your hands, remember, it is said that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the security services continue to keep us safe. They keep the peace, secure our borders and assets, maintain law and order, and go the extra mile to entertain us with their joyful melodies. With assurances of our appreciation, support and love for them, I thank them immensely for their impressive parade and encourage them to remain alert. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we celebrate our National Day, let us give a wider meaning to our political independence and link it with national unity. Political independence, economic independence, and national unity have a bearing on one another. However, we must recognize the national unity. We must recognize that national unity is the foundation for nation building. To reinforce this foundation, as peace-loving and law-abiding citizens, we have to accord one another the due respect and allow every citizen space to live productively. As I always say, the future is bright and we can achieve our development goals if we unite and work as a cohesive nation. The National Assembly elections are a few weeks away. Let us commit ourselves to the law and go about the electoral process in an orderly and peaceful manner. We did well for the December 4th presidential election and can do better in the next round of elections. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our formidable scorpions deserve to be mentioned on this special day as national heroes. They continue to fly the national flag high and did us proud by performing beyond expectations in Cameroon. I warmly congratulate each of them, players and officials alike, and all those who contributed to their achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for the splendid turnout and for gracing the occasion equally. I commend the media personnel, the various organizations present, and the organizing committee of the event for making the anniversary celebration a success. I thank you all. God bless us all. Thank you.
We thank His Excellency for those wise words.
Well, viewers, you're still watching QTV and we're broadcasting live from the Makati Square here in Banjul, where the Gambia is today celebrating its 57th independent anniversary. And as you have just heard, that was the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, there delivering his independence statement to students and a quite sizable audience who have come here at the Makati Square to witness this historic day. I mean, this was the day when the Gambia gained its independence from British rule at this particular venue where the Union Jack was lowered for the last time, and then the Gambian flag was hoisted, the red, white, blue, white, green. Mr. Mboch Ansumana Esonyase, you have heard from the President. He has delivered his statement, and then he touched on so many issues, from what many will say the Gambia has gained politically independent, but economically we aren't. And this is something that the President has admitted in his speech, that there is still challenge as far as the economic independency of this country is concerned. What's your take on this statement? Marking the end of the celebration here at the Makati Square. Well, Mr. Mboch, like I asked before we went on that national anthem, I mean, you have heard from the President his statement. Was it more of a political statement or an inspirational statement? What's your take?
Well, I sort of felt that way. When you talk about something like we need economic independence, we all know that. But this sort of speech, the speech for today, Independence Day, and it's really dedicated to kids. You've got students all over. Fine. How do you rouse them to get that glint in their eyes? What the challenge is, what they need to do. There should have been more of inspirational stuff. Today is for that, really. So it was an okay speech. Most of the stuff that he said, we heard already during the campaign. So when he said it was a political speech, in many ways, yes, because I would have expected to see more inspirational stuff, more purple passages, purple stuff in this, but not quite, I have to say. So it was a sort of a damp squib for me, because you can even tell that the loudest cheers we had today during the speech was when the Scorpions was mentioned. Quite interesting there.
And Sumana?
Yes, I was looking forward to, a speech like Mr. Mboch said. One, that would serve to inspire the nation, especially the younger ones who are present here. So I was looking forward to such a speech. However, it's not a bad one. He did mention some of the achievements we've had as a nation over the years, and even challenges, and also went further to reiterate his commitment and all of his government to deliver on his development promises. However, again, like I said earlier, I think really I agree with Mr. Mboch. I was looking forward to one, that would serve to inspire the younger ones here. But overall, it's not a bad speech.
That's it.
In his statement, he talked about, and I quote, he said, "My mission for this country is to steer a country with the top-class infrastructure." He talks about issue of reducing dependency on outside world. The question now is, how do we do this, Mr. Mboch?
That is precisely the point. It's all words. These are all words. We all understand this, and we also understand that you can have the most formidable, pragmatic will, yet when you're dealing with certain structural impediments, how do you deal with that? We are not blind. We know exactly the difficulties that our country faces. So, yes, today we expect him to be upbeat in his message and all the rest of it, fine. But we know that we have a huge task, and what the country faces, even when Barrow is gone, sooner or later it will happen. He will not have finished the job. This is a long generational game that we face.
And so?
Yes, I mean, I think for me it should be, you're quite right there. I mean, it's wanting to have all of these ideas, all of these programs and policies, but how do we go about actualizing them? I think for me that should be the question we should all be asking now. As a country, I mean, you are very right. We're faced with so many challenges. You look at our energy sector, you look at our economy, you look at, I mean, the unemployment rate. I mean, we're talking about what? Inflation, we're talking about allegations of corruption almost every other week. So for me, I think the focus now should be how do we address these challenges that we're faced with as a people and as a country. However, I mean, I think the future is still bright. I mean, all we have to do is to, get the right people at the right places, be serious as a nation. I mean, we cannot, at this pace, I mean, it's really, it will take a long time before we get our act together. And I think for me, it should be more about pragmatism. We have to be action-oriented, and we have to be serious in dealing with the challenges that we face as a country.
Well, as you are seeing on your screen, that's the president still exchanging some pleasantry with the invited guests. That's the that's Action Man Balagaba Jahumpa, among other senior dignitaries invited here. Well, Mr. Mboj, let's now move. He talks about democracy, believing in democracy for development of this country. But there's also touched on something regarding the education sector. I mean, this is a sector that is very, very close to your heart. I mean, you always emphasize the importance of really, ensure that we have a very good education sector for the development of this country. There can't be any development in the absence of a very good education sector.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, education and health.
Yeah.
Some people will say that these are really the twin pillars, the embedding, as it were, for anything else to develop. You need to educate your people, as it were, and stuff like that. But this is really the key. Today, for me anyway, I feel that perhaps the speech should have focused on how do I bring people to join me in what we do. You were saying earlier, was it SO you said about the corruption and all of these things? So how do I help people? We renew our pledge, as it were, we have it in our national anthem, our pledge to our country. How do I cut that without that patriotism, without that integrity, that honesty in public office? Nothing is going to happen. We've been told time and time again that without that institutional rectitude, you are never going to have any development. Absolutely. We are not even sure how he's going to handle that. Sooner or later you begin to realize that, oh my God, people around me are actually the ones dragging us. We are the ones dragging ourselves back. How do I change the mindset? This is really the challenge of a leader. How do I change the mindset? How can I make sure that the ordinary NAWEC worker out there, when you go out to do your work, you wouldn't accept bribes? How can I make sure that when I'm in the manning a public office, when people come, then I give them fast, quick service? How do I rouse the people really for us to follow a program? That is the challenge of an African leader. You have a formidable challenge given how our societies are structured.
Thank you very much, Modou Mbodj. Ansumana, ñu dem si kalama Olaf. Xam naa ne ñu bari ñu ngi seetaan, and then just tuuti dégg nga président si kàddaam wax na lu bari dem na ci wàlli koom-koom bi naka la ñu mën a gisee Gambia nekk réew boo xam ne am na du yaakaar si ndimbal bu war a jógee outside, even though loolu moom doo ko mën a taxa 100% foog nga am, because loolu foofu mu focus waaye lan la yu bari tam yu mel ni wàlli jànga bi wala naka la ñu mën a delloo mbéy mi noo jàngatee waxam bi tey.
waaw Aliou li ma jàngat ci kaddu bi kii di njiitu réew mi gaaral tey mooy ne comme Mr Mbodj comme ni ma ko waxee rek ci kaalaama nasaraan man it maa ngi doon séntu speech boo xam ne dina gën a ñaax nit ñi ñu gën a besalaat seen bugg a réew, waaye tamit gën a déggu ci li nga xamante ne mooy intérêt si réew mi. waaye nag naam na dëgg la wax na ci yenn ci yokkute yi nga xamante ne réew Gambia amal na ko boppam ba moom boppam ba tey rawatina ci at yi ñu weesu. waaye tamit wax ne tamit ci yenn si jafe-jafe yi nga xamante ne réew mi mu ngi koo jànkuwanteel naam na ñu ngi am ay jafe-jafe nga xool ci wàllum courant problème la Gambia, ndox noonu bëri na tamit ñoo xamante ne tey dañ laa wax ne lekk seer na Gambia nga ñëw ci wàllum njuuj njaaj corruption coow li bëri na fay tamit foog naa li gën a am solo tey mooy laajaat suñ bopp naka la ñoo def saafaral yooyu le problème ndax réew mi loolu la soxla fi mu nekk ci biir loolu tamit Aliou soo bàyyee xel tamit président bi ci gannaaw bi jamono bi nga xam ne mu ngi wax lenn rek la wax loo xam ne tax na ñëpp yuuxu tàccu mooy bi moo wax affaire scorpions yi mooy suñ naanaan yi nga xamante ne ñoo ngi teewaloon ci Cameroun football si nga gis ne loolu réew mi yëpp ànd na ci kon foog naa fi mu nekk Aliou jubluwaay bi xalaat bi ak buga bi dañ ko war a wéer ci li nga xamante ne mooy naka la ñoo def saafaral problème yi nga xamante ne réew mi mu ngi ko jànkuwante ci bi la jamono moo xam da wàllum njuuj njaaj la moo xam da wàllum liggéey bu yeex la moo xam da wàllum courant bu manqué la si réew mi lekk bu seer ñàkk liggéey li yëpp lu ñu war a gëstuwaat la ak suñ benn secteur boo xam ne xëy na bàyyi moo ko xel waaye déggu moom wax ko mooy wàllum wér gu yaram xam nañ ne foofu tamit problème bu rëy am fa kon baax na bés bu mel ni tey ñu fàttaliku loolu yëpp gën a waxtaan comme réew seet nañoo def saafaral jafe-jafe ñoo jànkuwanteel Aliou.
laal nga fu am solo nga ne corruption njuuj njaaj te ñu bëri soo waxee ak ñu ne moo nekk ne wàlli wecci jikko yi jikko nit ñi lan lañ war a def pour mën a gis ne jikko yi wecc nañ pour mën a gis ne lépp la somb nañ ko ñu mun si génnee dara.
Aliou xam nga nguur nit ñaa koo doxal barab boo mënti gis barabu liggéey nit ñi ñoo koo doxal soo nit ñi seen bopp ñoo war a wecci suñu xalaat wecci jikko yi loolu nag foog mu dooree si kaw exemple bi foog ñu set exemple bu nit defee loo xamante ne jaarul yoon wala méngoowul ak loi tëral dañ ko war a teg ci kanami loi xam nga li nga xamante ne la loi dogal ñu teg ko ci kawam loolu bu ñu ko defee rek génn ci li ci mel ni ay njuuj njaaj ak yu demee noonu waaye bu dee dañoo wax rek parce que soo bàyyee xel ci ay fan si gannaaw am na ab waxtaan boo xam ne amoon naa ko ak kii di ministre bu tourisme Amat Bah mu xamal ma ne moom nangu na ne njuuj njaaj am na ci réew mi te foo dem fekk ko fa mu ne waaye lu ëpp ci li ñoo wax xalaat la rek man nag foog naa war nañoo weesu di ko gisee noonu jubluwaay bi ak gis-gis bi moo war a nekk naka la ñoo def génn ci loolu waaye comme li nga wax la foog ñu soppi jikko yi
jërëjëf Ansumana so ñaasi jërëjëf Mr Mbodj mbaɗigol melɓe QTV juuɓe kan andi melɓe Q radio fanal la moy kan comme aliya moy banko ñatongo his excellence the president Adama Barrow ayla speak di kabring dindigol ning soldier ning police olu e match kana tambala ala diamo kono ayla paretani pour kaje ay men commencer pour kaje Gambia a falling comme ça ibaji la avec la banko di miano ko molbebe lafila kake Gambia noti ay wotande bele andun alafta pour kaje Gambia e ci commerce bantala banko te pour kana banko develop wasitalano comme ça nka duno menta ko do menta bantala banko te pour ka banko dara wo besi talano hanyara ama bondino bari asa talano pour kaje na demano même bulu Gambia jang sa tano nga dundi ko to miano ko asi banko samano nyaato fanan seno la bunda ay genam ay yefanan mala kado seno bunda kumara bakala kumara pour Gambia nga banko so nga kiyo so men to yeto wala kaje nga na flota nga dundi nyin seno bunda pour kaje nka kujama men bonan banta banko do kamunta mano wobesi talano so personal diamo akumara bake bari ay scorpions balan tantule melan ko amami important Cameroon kabetala je ño fe ye banko to sikande je bakale ay wala balan tentu ay jay bake musidam hajoni bon do Banjul Makari Square nganda boyan rek president Adama Barrow o wadi deliver speech mako independence speech mako te hala mako kadi o holri parde mako pour yide dal Gambia wona leli nganda mona kala ngondere Gambia a weltora pour nganda ka bido Gambia naje ko fala wadde o woni pour o usta ko hewi nganda ko yakar mo dajja mo leydeji gonde gas pour enen eppin ko Allah ko dun Allah okki men mbay dum dulaji nganda di wada develop lady o holri kare parde mako pour yide ndemal ngal kadi o waccanga pour be jetta kalis kewde mbara mo he dema he pour yide dal ko hewen ko ittidan tubako be to ko ndino maro enni fof jaadum uytama do Gambia o rewti kadi o jarni be nganda be ngoni Gambia senior national team Scorpions bila be ano Cameroon ha be ton ligue modjo be nawi inde Gambia adna fof so ko don wonno hala president Adama Barrow Mr. Mbodj, let's now come back to the issue of corruption. You have heard from my colleague Ansumana Esonyasi. Currently, we have the anti-corruption bill is in Parliament. Isn't it high time we have this act or this bill passed into an act? But is that also enough?
No, it's never enough. I mean, the sort of problems we have, the solutions are bound to be multidimensional. Obviously, you need the legal framework, but you need other aspects of society to work as well. CSOs, citizens, NGOs, everybody, every citizen, it takes everybody. So this is why they're telling us, hey, look, politics can stimulate, or politicians can stimulate democracy, but it takes everybody to make it work. This is really the key. So, but it's not all doom and gloom, let's be honest with that, because recently what we've been seeing in the National Assembly, everything that is wrong, they've been saying it. They've been carrying out these scrutiny sessions whereby that's it. We've seen the things that are wrong being in the local authorities, in local government, and in other public institutions. So that's a good thing, as long as we can bring these things out and see how we can iron them out, as it were. So this is it. You got to do a lot of things, and you will have lots of legislation. You can have all of that, but it takes all the things as well, all the aspects to make it work, to get the outcomes that we want.
I mean, so if you maslaha ndax lo tam contribute na si liñ ñaka di gis mu ngi am dafa melni ñu bari ñu ngi jël advantage perhaps okay president bi dafa xala nopi president bi xala mu ngi maslaha ak lu bari mu ngi xew maybe bukuta nek dat njiit bo xamne dafa nek di ciaw nit ñi every day people are taking advantage to me man non la ko gisee fogu la it's high time President Barrow mu gëna won gaay ne I am the president and then you either work or we part ways. What do you think?
Aliou gis nga Aliou naam ne dëgg la ñu ngi si démocratie te lu nekk dafa am pour jaar ci yoon waaye man dama foog ne mooy li ma wax ci gannaaw exemple bi foog mu dooree si kaw bu dara xewee wala nit def loo xamante ne àndut ak yoon àndut ak loi borom dañ ko war a teg ci kanami loi exemple dañu war a set examples loi am na pàcc yoo xamante ne te dooleel nañ jiiti réew mi wala dooleel na nguur wala dooleel na ñoo xamante ne ñoo saytoo yéen a bërëb bi li ci mel ni bërëb bu attekaay yi pour ñu teg yoon képp koo xamante ne yaa ngi yëngu ci njuuj njaaj wala def loo xamante ne jaarut yoon bëri na nag ci réew mi loo xamante ne dina xew njiiti réew mi duñ ko dégg mu wax lu bëri man foog naa ne dañ ko waddee dégg muy wax dañ ko waddee gis muy jël ay actions loolu bu amee rek danga ne ñu bëri dinañ ragal duñ def yenn yu ñoo def dégg la maslaha bi moom Gambia lu yàgg la fi waaye foog naa tey la gën a am tey la gën a bëri te mu ngi ñoo sonal wax dëgg ne yàlla yéenay nag moom Aliou ñu wax ko rek
président léegi mu ngi bàyyi mu ngi dellu State House fi nga xam ne soriwut ak fi ñu nekk nii moo nekk Makati Square.
waaw gis naa mu ngi dox bi moo ñëw fii moto la ñëwee waaye mu ngi dox lii la ñoo séntu si moom ndax tey bési Gambien yi la gis nga gaayan koo gunge muy dem waaye li ma doon wax rek Aliou nañ ko wax rek te dee man foog naa ne soo bàyyi xel nguuram dinañ ko crédit si leena he's a démocrate man noonu laa ko gisee ndax sonalul kenn waaye Aliou gis nga boo nekkee njiit foog yéene nga dëgër foog nga dëgëral sa bopp lu ko moy rek lu bari dina yàqu te da ngaa gis ne bu yàqu-yàqu amee ñëpp kenn la ñoo joxoñ nguur njiiti réew kon yow foog nga nekk ku dëgër foog ngay jël actions you have to be seen to be taking actions duul rek ci wax waaye li ma bàyyi xel man foog naa from now onwards dañu war a graduate si leena bu dara xewee ñu yónnee press release rek jeex na pare nañ ci xam nga gis nañ ko fi si kees yu bëri yoo xamante ne am na naam ne yéen ay tuuma la rek allegations la waaye dina baax nga jël actions soo gisee jamono nguur bi passé yéen ay nit yi duñ ko daan ñeme def duut ne rek ñi fi nekkoon dañ bon wala dañ soxor déedéet waaye daf laa wóor ne bi ma defee lii duñ ma seetaan action moo see tegu soo dañ war a am yu mel noonu am loi dooleel na ko moom njiiti réew dooleel na nguur yi tamit ak ñi nga xamante ne ñooy police yi ak ñi nga xam ne ñooy attekat yi boo defee lu warut nan loi tegu sa kaw man fa laa ko jàppa duut sax lu ñoo maslaha buñ ko deful rek dañoo continuer di am problème ndax bëri na tey ñoo xamante ne tuumal lañ leen corruption tey ñu nekk si nguur ak ñu nekkul si nguur waaye amul kenn rek laa gis ne yóbbu nañ ko ci kanami loi di ko atte gannaaw kenn ko amul kenn koo xam ne teg nañ ko ci kanami loi atte ko Gambia war naa romba foofu léegi ku def lu bon loi tegu sa kaw buñ ko defee rek noppalu Aliou.
parce que li nga doon fana lu am solo la fana président bi he should really start taking action because the thing is that okay duñ mën a am ay nit yoo xam ne yaa ngi si nguur ñu ngi laa fay taxpayers money yow mi nga xam ne yaa ngi saaf si government bi sa doom yi bari ñu ngi ci private school yow mi every year yaa ngi dem lépp ñu ngi laa fay xaalis bu bari nga war faa nekk pour saaf li nga ne mën nekk sa réew bëgguloo saaf réew mi because yaa ngi bëgg a undermine oo di bëgg a def loo xam ne mun naa am ok li su ma ko defee dafa gën a yaxaat nguuri turi nguur mi waaye leneen nga war a xam ne government su dawutee nit yi ñooy soona waro mi ñoo nekk fay seen tax pour ñu mun laa fay sa salary so yow war loo faa nekk rek because ok baa nekk fi just pour suma poste te ñu bari nañ ko wax mu dee loolu mooy dëgg bi ñu bari ñu ngi fa seen poste dañ fa nekkal faale wuñ parce que ñooñu xamuñ njëgi saaku maalo ñaata la nekkuñ di ko fiil man ak yow mu nekk di jooy yi fi njëgi saaku maalo waaye ñoom nekkuñ di ko yëg parce que ñoom ñu ngi am seen salary ñu ngi tukki di am seen padiyem so worry wuñ and these are the people that the president should look out for am na ñu bari ñu ngi fa nekkuñ fa pour nguur mi daal di def da interest
Aliou so moo tax am na ñu dee wax ne ñun li ñu dal independence gi really li mu miin mooy dañ internationalize dañ indigenize colonialism maa ngi gisee nguur pour am li fi nekkoon moo tax daf doon exploit ku nekk système bi dafa exploit di jël so ñu take over su ma dismantle système boobu so ni nga gisee mu dafa continue so there is change waaye the content the form yëpp a ngi remain waaye there is change so attitude boobu nag moom boobu loolu mooy suñ ennemi public service it's not just a job it's not a job it's a service boobu soo fa duggee àdduna si yëpp doo am xaalis gu bari su ma bëggee am xaalis ma dem form suma private company ma am suma millions good luck to you jëlal kenn la ko ñëwee waaye boo duggee ci government nag bëgg ko ba am attitude boobu bu change te this is not about baro this is not about politicians this is about a national character so gisee suñ government di mel ni moo mel ñun ñoo mel niñ mel xam nga man ñun duñ mel one thing ba pare ma expect suma government mu nekk something pure xam nga mel ni ki mu ngi jógee ci beneen planet it doesn't make sense to me I have to say
laal na fi am solo soo xoolee tey ñi nekk ci nguur yëpp ak ñi ñoo fal ñëpp si biir société bi lañ jógee ko so changes bi dafa war a doore si ñun si man ak yow ak keneen li xew mooy Gambie tey dafa daw yaram Aliou baadoola bi tey dafa struggle pour am lim añee bu añee mu ngi xalaat lim réeree ndéewoo sax duñ ko tuddaat fi mu ne loolu li ñu war a bàyyi xel la ñun ñoo war a wécci waar suñ gis-gis wécci suñ xalaat soppi ci ko yi xam ne ni mbir bi demee buñ ci jàppul ñun ñëpp ñu am problème maslaha bi ñu tegee ko boor tey courant problème la tey mu taal suba mu fay ndox problème la tey am na bërëb yoo xamante ne dem ay wig lu ko ëppa duñu am ndox liggéey jafe na pour ndaw ñi réew mi dafa bëri jafe-jafe yi moo jànkuwanteel te fekk waxante wuñ dëgga fekk taxawuñ gis ne soppi nañ jikko yi kenn ku nekk nga jiital intérêt si réew mi mooy li Mr Mbodj di wax tey buñ la faloon tey yow nga nekkal fa sa poste comme li nga doon wax kon dafa mel ni yow nekkaluloo fa askan gi te nit ñee tax nga toog fa te benn ñoo xamante ne ay public officials lañ soo xoolee li ñoo dundee tey live biñ dunda ak li ñoo fayaku dafa doy waar kon ñun ñoo war a gestuwaat suñu boppam société bi si boppam moo war a gestuwaat boppam te ñu jiital intérêt réew mi Aliou
lu am solo la comme ñu ngi ma wax ne waxtu bi jaamu nañu running out of time waaye balaa ñu dem rek est-ce que dinaa la laaj parce que ni nga mel tey man yaa ngi look nice
Oncle Sidi Cissé ak Elimane suñ ñëwkat bi ñoom ñoo ñu solal tey ñu kontaan si be wax dëgg
waaye caméra ba war na génne li rek est-ce que nu mel tey because xam nga lii moom ku la ko ñëwal prix moom xam nga fo nga wane ko rek
waaw lii moom Aliou car macha allah rafet na trop ñu see jaajëfal Oncle Sidi
waaw Oncle Sidi Cissé xam naa waroon na fi nekk waaye nga def mu ngi jàpp moo tax
tey nuroo ba ci loo
waaw jërëjëf Assoumana comme ni ma ko waxee rek lii daal Oncle Sidi moo ñu defal arrangement bi ni Sidi Cissé mu nekk sunu nijaay bu baax amin so def ñu dee teete waaw boole ñàkk na mu nekk Elimane ñëwkat bu mag nekk fële ca Wellingara jox soo rombee Jah Oil bi rek sooy dem boori Costa Road Elimane moo jaar lii Elimane nag xam naa ne na nga ko jox publicité tuuti nag ku ko boo call nga ko call si 7665932 7665932 loolu moo nekk number Elimane nekk fële ca Wellingara mu nekk tailleur bu mag moo jaar si man ak Ansoumana xanaa di ko gërëm di ko sant waaye di gërëm tam sunu oncle Sidi Cissé si baaxaayam moo waral li yëpp Mr Mbodj yow ku la solal
non bi man maa solal suma bopp dem balaa dem rek xool waaw bi dina àndaali dina dem nele rek maa
Mr Mbodj ndongo Banjul la
waaw jërëjëf thank you very much Ansoumana Eso Nyasi thank you very much Mr Mbodj well viewers with that we come to the end of this live broadcast of the Gambia's 57 independence anniversary xam naa waaye nag di gërëm the entire production team we are saying a big thank you to all the production the entire production team of QTV from the management down to everyone the cameramen the technicians I mean everyone who has really participated in this production we appreciate everything and on behalf of the panelists Ansoumana Eso Nyasi Mbodj Mbodj and myself we say bye bye and happy independence.
Hello Gambia, you are tuned into Q Radio 103.3 FM, the new voice of the Gambia.
Q Radio 103.3, the new voice of the Gambia.
This your man DJ Nix live here on Q Radio 103.3, the new voice of the Gambia.
103.3 la for Montenegro chonin bukosa mbute pra.
Yeah, I'm from the GA like to the West Coast. I'ma show you where we stay, where the sun shines and the people smile.